Chapter 5, Minitab Express. In this activity, you will compare population parameters calculated from the entire dataset with statistics calculated from samples taken from the dataset. Using the textbook dataset, find the mean, median, range, and standard deviation for public school final enrollment in column C16, SAT grand total average score C21, and public school expenditures C18. Notice that these are population parameters. To demonstrate the sampling process, I will work with the variable violent crimes in column C22. I will examine the descriptive statistics first. Statistics, describe, descriptive statistics. You must do each variable individually, and I'll go ahead and I'll select C22. And on my statistics, I want to select the mean, the median, the range, and the standard deviation. I'll also pick Q, the min and the max and the quartiles. Here's the output. Remember, you can use, again, that statistics option to change the output. Let's get an idea of the distribution for violent crimes, and let's create a dot plot. And if I go home and just show the output, I can get a better picture. And remember, when you do this, you also get some summary statistics. So I noticed that there are some counties with high violent crime, for instance, this one here, which happens to be Mecklenburg. There are two others down here, which happen to be Guilford and Wake counties. To create the sample of 20%, use the commands data, sample from columns, select the columns that you want to sample from, and I'm going to use C22 again. And the number of rows, I want 20%. There are 100 counties in our data set, so I'm going to do 20, and I'm going to make sure I sample without replacement. If you were to take separate samples from the same column, you might want to put in a base for the random number generator so that you don't get the same sample over and over again. And hit OK. And it's going to put it in the last empty column in your data set. In my case, it happens to be column C81. And so now I can go ahead and I can do some summary statistics to create the same sample descriptive statistics. So if I go to Stats, Describe, Descriptive Statistics, and now I'm going to do it on column C81. And I'll do the same ones that I had before, which are going to be kept as they were before. I'm going to take the standard error out. OK. And now I can compare what I had in my sample to what I had in my total population, which would be parameters. Now I'm going to refer you to the handout so you can take a look at some things that you could talk about when you compare the sample to the parameters. And again, every time you take a sample, you're going to get different means and sample statistics because the sampled counties are different in each of the samples. So you want to make sure you understand. You're not going to get the same mean in your sample that I got in my sample. And again, I'm going to refer you to the handout for Chapter 5 Minitab Express for some ways to talk about the differences and similarities between the parameters and the sample.